All right, here we go. Bum, 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 doo-doo-doo-doo, dun, dun, doo-doo-doo-doo, dun, dun, doo-doo-doo-doo, dun, dun, doo-doo-doo-doo, ba 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 ba. That's it. That's the theme song, man. That is the theme song for this. I'm going to call it a podcast. All right. I was calling it voicemail and whatever else I was calling it. Shows. Well, they are shows. There will be a variety of shows. And today's show is going to be called Big Sexy Hooks. Big Sexy Hooks. Yeah, it's coming up. And but what you're listening to right now is the ADL Driftwood podcast with your host, Dave. A day in the life of the Driftwood podcast with me, Dave. Steve? Dave. Get it right. I wasn't going to give my name, but I don't see any way that I can't, because at some point I want to have interviews with people. And I'd like to have friends on and various people and people that I know, and I would like to interview them. And there's all kinds of people that I want to interview in the future. I want to interview a friend of mine who's a trainer, and he's the one who kind of got me off the sluggish lifestyle that was leading me to a very early grave and got me back out on the mountain bike and actually working out for the first time in my life, because I never used to work out at all. I'd like to have him and various other people on, friends of mine who are songwriters. You know, it's going to be weird if they know me as Dave, and then I'm like, oh, by the way, when we start, don't call me Dave. Why? No, I'm Chuck. Call me Chuck. So I just figured it's not going to work. I might as well just be Dave. Are you doing good? Are you living the low carb lifestyle? I've been trying to live the low carb lifestyle, and it's peaks and troughs. And I'll put it to you this way: last week I stepped on the scale and I'd gone up. And I was like, okay, I got to get it under control. So I spent the whole week kind of chomping away at it. I'm just going to get right into the story of what's going on with the tub of guts and the eating, etc. So I was trying really hard last week. I was doing okay. And, ups and downs, a little bit of cheating, some snacks at night, etc. But the big thing that was making me nervous was this big party that we had to go to on Saturday night. It was a relative in the family. It was his 70th birthday. And it was at a big, expensive hotel. And we were staying the night. It was going to be fun. And so my wife and I were like, look, we both know what's been happening. We've been sliding into our old ways. And I definitely don't want to go there, so I got to turn it around. But that being said, this is going to be a fun weekend, and I'm not going to enjoy myself. So let's say starting next week, or even on the Sunday, the next morning we wake up, and it's like, let's get reprogrammed. And Sunday's a good day to reprogram. Make a nice, hearty dinner on Sunday night, and away you go. You've started the week off, get to bed early, and then Monday, boom, you're right into it. So that all happened, more or less. We did the big party on Saturday night. Full jerk mode. Well, not totally, but there was plenty of everything consumed. And my big one is beer. I'm the beer boy. And so we did it. You can imagine how we felt in the morning. So we got up and got it back together, though, and had our showers and managed to kind of clean it up, and we're on a good track. But I tell you, the one thing about, I call this the New Year's Eve. The New Year's Eve is like where you go, okay, starting tomorrow, I'm not going to do anything out of my rules. All rules start tomorrow. I'm never going to have another bite of cake again. I'm never going to light another cigarette. I'm never going to let sugar even cross my lips, let alone a carb. Nothing. I am living a pious, vegan life starting tomorrow. How long do you think that's going to last, right? And the worst part is that the cravings are so huge because you've been programming yourself to eat this way and training your body that like to send off those hunger hormones and just to send out all these cravings because you've been living this lifestyle. It's all about habits. Well, that's exactly what happened. I made it till Monday after dinner, and I think I had one of my usual bowls of crapola. I don't know. I was probably mainlining the peanut butter and the jam. I like to do that. Just dip a spoon in one and then dip it in the other and then lick them off the spoon. Like it's embarrassing. I can't believe I just admitted that. It used to be worse though. It used to be like straight up get in the car and go buy $40 to $80 worth of chocolate and chips, and that would get you through the whole week. And when that was gone, you'd get more. Yeah, I had some kind of a snack on Monday night, and last night I think I did the same. So it's, I'm always like, I'm eating like a pious monk during the day. It's so good, the exercise. But then after dinner, oh my God, it's way different. You're just rooting through the pantry, through the shelving. You're raiding your kid's closet. You're like, I know that you got an Easter egg in here. Where's that Easter bunny? I saw it. It's and I've done all those embarrassing things. It's horrible. Chocolate, it's an addiction, But it's not just the chocolate. It's the sugar and the salt. Anyway, I wasn't bad both days, but I think I snacked at the nighttime, and all in all, it wasn't even that bad. But I certainly haven't been 100% good. But I've been doing my best. And look, I haven't fallen completely off the wagon, but I haven't kept up to exactly the standard I want it to be. And that's why every single day is just another day. You try your best. And so far today, we're doing okay. But I will say, today, this is Wednesday now, so we're halfway through the week. It's 3:00 in the afternoon. I finally got a moment to myself. I want to just kind of bang out this intro for this week's podcast, I guess, because the second half is Big Sexy Hooks, and I've already released it, and I'll get into that. But here we are, 3:00 in the afternoon, and that is not a coffee that I am drinking. It's just one. It's just one. And then I've got to get into the kitchen and start cooking dinner shortly, so this is it. This was my little reward to myself. Both kids stayed home today, both of them sick. And you thought you had plans? This is Life talking to me. Life said, you thought you had plans? You thought you were going to get this done and get these off your to-do list and do this and that? No, you're not. You are going to take your children to a little park for a little bit of a walk in the sunshine and then bring them home and cook them a big hearty lunch and look after them and put them down for a nap. And that's the way that day is going to go. And quite often you don't find out until you've just woken up that morning and we're all excited, skipping into your office to, pay a bunch of people and get a bunch of things done. Nope. Anyway, that's what we're doing. How are you doing? Are you looking after yourself? Are you setting a few goals and then beating yourself up about crapping out on them? I hope not. I hope that you are taking the same approach, just one day at a time. And if you do give in to temptation, it could be worse. I'm not lighting a cigarette. I haven't had one of them in a year. It's just, life is what it is, man. Sometimes we fall back on these things and they're crutches, like mainlining peanut butter and jam into your mouth at 9:00 at night when everyone's gone to bed, and you're You're standing there with your little tracksuit on, shoveling anything you can find with sugar in it into your mouth. Why? What? I'd done so well. Tomorrow's another day. Anyway, I want to tell you about the second half of this podcast because I recorded it yesterday or the day before, and I listened back to it. It's kind of rough. Look, it's the first one. So it's a show that I want to do called Big Sexy Hooks. And it's got a great theme song. I'm digging the more I think about the theme song, I think it's my favorite part about the whole show. I listened back to it and I kind of ramble as opposed to this right now where I'm completely coherent. I think I was trying to cover too much too quickly. I noticed that I kept saying, okay, as though I was teaching a course. And then it does this, okay. And, but I'm not going to go ahead and redo it. I really want this whole thing to be kind of quick and dirty. I do want to just be able to ramble them off into my phone. And if one of them doesn't work out the way I wanted to, or doesn't hit my level of expectation, there'll be another one down the road. I'll do another one. So it does kind of wafer and flow here and there, and it's all I'm saying. But I think when I listen back to it, it's got some really neat points. And I think the biggest point that I was making by comparing the two songs that I do compare, which is Somewhere in My Car by Keith Urban and One Headlight by Jacob Dylan. I think he wrote it. His band is called the Wallflowers. Is that both those songs start on what's called the 4. So that's the big takeaway from the second half hour of this. I do want to keep the format. I quite enjoyed breaking it up into two recordings. I find rambling for a full hour into the phone is fairly exhausting, and I start to fade in the second half, and you just can't come prepared enough with enough to kind of fill in a whole hour. That being said, I feel like I was rushing it in the second half, but part of the reason for that is I think I was trying to cover too many thoughts all at once. I had too much in my head that I was trying to get out. So over time, the format will hopefully sort itself out. But I do like the idea of recording 2 half-an-hour segments and then mashing them together. And so this 1 hour show, the first half hour being preamble, sort of about lifestyle, how we're doing, whether or not I'm to use a term that is used way too much these days, keeping myself accountable for what I'm doing. I've shared what some of my goals are about the eating and activity and parenthood, and just trying to keep my anxiety level lower. And so the first half hour is going to be preamble about that type of thing. And then the second half hour delving into some kind of musical topic. And I'll probably break those topics up into various shows. So the show today in this episode is called Big Sexy Hooks. And I was thinking about the next show that I would like to do. I really wanted to do one called Sniffing Out Stinkers. And I think more because I like the title, Sniffing Out Stinkers. And I've been dabbling on a theme song. It is stealing Olivia Newton-John's Sniffing Out, I wanna get sniffing out a stinker now. Something like that. Yeah, what is that? Physical. What do you think of that theme song? I think I like it more because I like the title, Sniffing Out Stinkers, than I actually like the concept, because the concept was, let's listen to an album and kind of scroll through the tracks quickly and realize that it's really not as good as we remembered it. There's a lot of really bad songs on it, and let's just kind of shine a light on some of these crappy songs. It happened when I was listening to an album by Skid Row, their big one, with 18 and Life on it. and it took me like 4 songs to get to a good one. I was like, what? Some of these songs are pretty bad, man. It was the one that got me. Goes, shake, shake, shake it like a rattlesnake. I was like, what? How many copies of this album did they sell? Poison is a good example of that as well. So they got a lot of stinkers on their albums. And what's interesting is when you compare it to an album like Appetite for Destruction, or even yesterday I put on The Cult Electric to see if there were any stinkers on there. And honestly, there's not. They're all pretty good. So it's neat the way you look at these old albums from the 80s, 90s. I mean, they could be from any era. And some of them have got some stinkers on them. And I do like the idea of sniffing out stinkers, but what I found was I don't want to kind of punch down at one hit wonder people. You know, like there's a lot of songs out there that was their big hit and it's awful. And I think making fun of one hit wonder people because they got big with a crummy song like, you know, Tiptoe Through the Tulips by Tiny Tim, you know. Poor guy's been dead for ages. It's just, where's the fun in that? You know, it's more fun to make fun of like U2, you know, because they can take it with all their money. You know, that's the kind of person I would like to kind of basically say, let's just explore this album a little bit. And the Joshua Tree is a good one to look at because, you know, that was a seminal album for my generation growing up. It was everywhere. It was ubiquitous. And I don't know, man. Like, where are the major songs? Where there's a lot of sad stuff on there. Ooh, Coldplay would be a good one too. Yikes. Somebody give that guy like a happy pill of some kind, man. Take some CBD oil, chug a beer, and write a song in a major key, man. Yeah. But I'm not sure about sniffing out stinkers yet. I've been struggling with that one. So I'm not sure what the next show is going to be. We have a little visitor here. What are you doing? They've gone out for a little bit. Just a second, please. All right. I have a visitor. It seems that the movie that we put on is over. It's now time to make a snack. And I'll leave it at this. We've got I do have a lot of ideas for other shows. And Sniffing Out Stinkers isn't the only one. There's a few more ideas. And look, I will keep it up 1 week at a time. Coming up with various ideas for content, thinking about music because it's endless. We could write a song together. We're going to be looking at some of the songs that I've written over the years and talking about the craft of songwriting. And that's primarily what I want to focus on. So with that being said, let's get into the second half of this where I delve into these 2 songs and compare them. And two guys that I respect a great deal, and I think are right up there with great songwriters. Certainly current-ish. So let's get into it. Big Sexy Hooks. Okay. Da 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 da, ba 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 da, ba 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 ba. Big Sexy Hooks. Da 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 da. Big Sexy Hooks. Da 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 da. Big Sexy Hooks. That's it. That's the theme song. What do you think? I just came up with it. You gotta love the old mountain bike ride for coming up with crap like that. It's not actually a really big sexy hook, or is it? What do you think? I like it. It's kind of hooky. Big, and then it's got the the TV commercial. That is the big sexy hook. Big sexy hooks. All of my music comes back to the theme song for WKRP in Cincinnati, the first one. That era, when I first started learning, well, I became addicted to TV, and that was one of my favorite shows, right? Baby, if you ever wondered. And then, of course, the song at the end. The first song is kind of like about Andy Travis, right? Who's the program director, and he shows up. And I think, did he even sing it? It's kind of about him anyway. I don't know, sometimes these guys sing the song, you know? Like, didn't the Hoff sing the Baywatch song? And, like, didn't Lee Majors sing the Fall Guy? And I could be wrong about all this, actually. I think I am. And then, and that last song at the end is kind of more like it's Johnny Fever, though. Where to pop that up, I got to do that one for a big sexy hook. What is with that song? I'll put that in my notes later. All right, so look, how you doing? I want to get to this. This is the first episode of Big Sexy Hooks. Big Sexy Hooks. And we're going to talk about, in this show, we talk about drugs, daughters. No, we're going to talk about big sexy hooks. You know, what puts them to that level. Now, I understand that Rick Beato has a thing called What Makes This Song Great. And that's fine. I'm not going to deep dive like that guy. Have you ever watched a full Rick Beato video? Even his Instagram videos, I am like he loses me. They're amazing. He deserves the following he gets. The level that he is at in terms of study and mixolydian and Dionian scales, and I'm like, Rick, I'm gone. And I've been playing music for 30 years, and Rick is like so far above my level. I'm doing this for somebody who doesn't play music. I'm just discussing music with someone who's maybe not so much a musician, but just a music lover. Now, in this, I will talk about chords in terms of 1, 4, 5, okay, the minor 6 and the 7th. That's about as technical as I want to get. And all I'm saying when I say that is that you got to remember or just understand that in song structure, no matter what musical key a song is in, you've got about 6 chords. And basically all pop music that you're going to hear, country pop, everything, is kind of built out of about 6 chords. And the best ones are with the 1, the 4, and the 5, because those are your happy chords. So 1, 4, 5 is ba ba bum, bum 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 bum, dun dun da da da. Yeah, I think you've heard that before. That's the happy chord. And then if you want to cheat, you bring in the minor. The minor 6 is the sad one. Da 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 is something to be. Ba do boo ba do boo 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 ba do. Okay, and we've taken a trip to Ireland. Oh yeah, oh matey. And then we're gonna get happy, 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 happy. And big sexy hooks. My theme song is in a minor. Boom, ba ba dum. Boom, boom, ba dum. And then it resolves on a happy. Big sexy hooks. So you got major or minor. Major's happy. Minor is sad. It's easy to write a rockin' song in a minor key. Minor rocks hard. And I feel like minor is a bit of a cheat code. It's harder to write a great song that's deep, has listenability, isn't corny, and sounds great, and is in a major key. That is harder. Minor key is a bit of a cheat code. You're already getting kind of bonus points for being in a minor key. Hotel California, Sultans of Swing. There's a lot of rockin' minor songs. And then to make it rockin' and in a major key is a bit tougher. For now, let's get straight into it. We're talking about 2 songs today. I've already picked them. And they are Keith Urban's, what the heck is it called? In My Car. Is that what it's called? Somewhere in My Car. Okay? And it's off his, I'm not sure, like 2016 album. And I'm going to get into my thoughts on Keith Urban and why I chose Somewhere in My Car by Keith Urban. And also this, I'm comparing it to a Wallflowers song called One Headlight. And Wallflowers is Jacob Dylan's band, Bob Dylan's son. And I'm not always going to do two songs. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it. This is the first one. This is the very first episode of Big Sexy Hooks. But I'm excited. And so let's get straight into it. Why did I pick these two songs? Well, I really like Keith Urban. Somebody has put a lot of money into Keith Urban's career. It's very interesting. Let's start with a little ramble about good old Keith. First of all, I don't think Urban is his real last name. I suppose I could have had the wiki tab open, but I'm not. We don't have time for that, okay? I'm just rambling with a cup of coffee and a guitar and a phone in front of me, okay? So the first thing I know about Keith Urban is that his name isn't Keith Urban. I'm not sure. I don't know what it is. Wally Walchuk, who knows? But I do know this. He's from a place north of here in the Northland of New Zealand called Whangamata? Oh, crap. Whangarei, I think it's called. I'm pretty sure it's Whangarei. Anyway, it's up north. It's the bigger city up north. But that being said, that it's not a big city compared to a place in like Asia, like China or any Asian city. Anyway, he's a Kiwi guy, okay? And everybody thinks he's American, but he's done one of those Russell Crowe type, Kiwi type moves where he's infiltrated, he's snuck over there, and he's become one of them. Like Rick Springfield's an Australian, and he talks with an American accent now. I'm sure if you heard Keith Urban talk, he'd sound like a Kiwi, but he sings like a Southerner, that's for sure. And I've listened to enough of his stuff that he'll put on that Southern accent when he needs it. However, I don't think he really is a country artist. I think he's a pop artist. He's a pop artist the way that Robbie Williams is a pop artist. He's one of those guys that's got a ton of ability and can kind of do anything. If you listen to his most recent album, it's dabbling on bro country, but with like hip hop and all sorts of stuff. I don't know what it is. And I don't like it as much as this album with Somewhere in My Car on it. So, and the reason why I feel that is I feel like it's the genre of this album with this Somewhere in My Car is that genre is more consistently a little bit that pop country kind of in the vein of like a Shania Twain type, which I like. I like that really well-produced modern country. I like it just before it dips into bro country, where I can't agree with their ideology of like, let's party so hard when I can't. I'm very specific with my tastes. But, you know what? Now I want to know what that Keith Urban song is called, so I'm going to find out. Or his album, hang on. Okay, we're back, and sorry about that. I don't want to have to keep typing things into the computer and looking them up, and I also don't want to spend 3 hours preparing for this. So I just typed it in. I found out the album for Somewhere in My Car is called Fuse from 2013, and he's had a few albums since then, but I think he kind of has drifted off that kind of that fuse. Great title, yeah, Fuse, of country and pop that that I really do like. Dixie Chicks, Lady Antebellum, now they're called Lady A, and Dixie Chicks are now called The Chicks. They canceled themselves, and who else? Shania Twain, Love, good old Canadian. That's I like that style where it's very palatable. I do love it. As long as it doesn't dip into too corny, I like it. And that's a fine line, to be very accessible and not corny. But anyway, this 2013 album, I think he was really at a good style at that point. And Somewhere in My Car is the first big track off it. So obviously whoever put it together, and they would have put a lot of money behind this album, thought that it was the strongest song. And 2 songs on is, Even the Stars Fall for You is the next one. And then third one is Cop Car. So all 3 of them are big, sexy hooks. Big, sexy hooks. And, I love it. And we're going to talk about why Somewhere in My Car is a great song. So, first of all, it's got some big notes in it. He's got a high voice, and he can do it. And so it's in the key of B flat or A sharp. Well, let's call it B flat. All right. And the thing with this song is that it doesn't start on what's called the root note. It starts on the 4. Those are the chords. Now, by the way, I don't want to get done for copyright claim on all this stuff. This is as fair use as it gets, talking about and exploring music. It's totally fair use. But that being said, I know one big guitar channel on YouTube that he got a copyright claim for playing a D suspended 4th chord. So I know all about the way that their algorithm and detection matches up stuff and falsely claims videos. So who knows? Let's see where this goes. I'm going to try not to... I'm not going to play the original track, and I'm just going to talk about it from a third party. And I will play them, but I won't... I'm hoping that I can clip them short enough before it gets dinged for a claim. So... that's how the song starts, right? Don't wanna be alone. Okay, so we're resting. We're coming back to this 4. That chord there is the root. And there's the minor 6 and the 5 for the turnaround. So the chords would be a D sharp or an E flat, a B flat, G minor, and the turnaround. What is that? A D up 3 frets. F sharp? Is that? Help me. F? Thank you. F. Okay. That's what Keith's doing, but you could modulate it into any key. And if I played this live, I would modulate it. By the way, I'm playing it capoed on the 3rd fret right now so that I could play it in the shape of a G chord. Oh, and by the way, when I said you didn't have to know much about music theory at the beginning, I was right about that. I'm going to try and keep the theory simple. But guitar, on the other hand, you're going to have to know. You have to be expert level to understand what I'm talking about. Sorry. I should have clarified that. Now, you don't have to be expert level, but where we are right now, the current flow is about where I am going to keep the level of it. So a capo is that thing that kind of moves the nut of a guitar up to make it so you can play the easy, open-y shapes and change the key for your voice, for singing. So I don't even think Keith Urban plays it with a capo, but if you were going to do it solo live, you would want to capo it. Don't want to be alone. All right, moving on. So that's where he is, but there's a big note coming up, okay? So what he does is he starts out with this great intro, paints the picture for you. Then he does like a pre-chorus, which I'm not a big fan of pre-choruses, but his does it quite well. He goes, ooh, don't know why I do this too. And the funny thing about that is that line, I don't know why I do this to myself, is a recurring theme in country songs. It always comes up about how there's such a degenerate. Why am I doing this again? Why do I drink? I ought to know by now. I ought to know. They're always saying they ought to know. Why don't you just not do it? That's what I always think. You know, usually it's about drinking. They're like, I can't. Well, nobody's putting a gun to your head. All right. Yeah, that's just a thing. I noticed that it's a recurring kind of trait in country music is they like to beat themselves up over making poor decisions. And Keith is sticking with the kind of mantra, and he said it to it as well. Don't know what to do myself. He cools off. Ooh, sorry, but I know you're with, and then the tension, someone else. And now the big sexy hook. But in my mind. So he's hitting a big note. That's a G above middle C. That's a hard note for a man to hit. Especially from your regular voice without going into falsetto, which is what I did there. Mind. I'm not going to blow the phone away and do it, so I will go falsetto. Mind you somewhere in my car, and it's raining hard on the street light glow. All right, you get the picture. And what's really cool is he goes into a rap there and says, but in my mind, we're somewhere in my car, and it's raining hard on a streetlight glow. You got your lips on mine, it's gasoline on fire. I never will forget. You grabbed my shirt and pulled it over my head. Fingers sliding up and down my back, breathing hard, steaming up the glass, giving a think if I could bring you back. Whoa, whoa, ho. It's fantastic lyrics. It paints a very sexual picture. The video is sexy. And what's really neat about this song is there's really no bridge, and there's really no definitive chorus, or there was a chorus, but it doesn't change chords. It just basically hangs out on those four chords. So it's the 4, the root, the minor, and the 5. Okay, so he's made this neat pattern, and he's starting by coming in on the 4. And now if it was me, because that's a big note for me, I would either move the capo down 2 frets. That would get me into it. And then I could hit an F note, which is an F above middle C, so it's a little bit of an easier note. Or just play it with different chords. But let's see if... But in my mind, somewhere in my car, and it's raining hard. So yeah, I would probably be inclined to do it there. And maybe if it was 3/4 of the way through a live show night, I could probably at that point do the Keith notes, but I certainly wouldn't open up a night with it. But if I was just sitting here at 10 in the morning doing it, I've got your lips on mine. There it is. Mine, it's gasoline on fire. It's still a pretty big note, man. F above middle C. That's you heard me squeak out there. That's Penny Royalty with Penny Royalty. Nirvana. Yeah, that's it. That's still, F is still a big note. But anyway, Keith can do the G, and that's why Keith is the big star. There's one more thing about Keith that's that you might not know, other than he's a Kiwi. He's married to Nicole Kidman. He's 54 years young. Ex-alcoholic, from what I heard, so respect on him for that. He's really cleaned it up. People have put a ton of money behind him. Anytime Keith releases something, there's a lot of marketing that goes behind it. He's everywhere, man. He shows up on my Spotify and TV commercials down here. I mean, somebody is really trying to pump his career, that's for sure. I don't know if he's 54 either, by the way. I just was guessing. But, is that he shreds on the guitar. He shreds. Man, is he a good guitar player. And I believe he's a banjo player. The first time he came across my radar, he was plucking the banjo in his first tune. I wanna love somebody like you. Yeah, and I think that's all him on the banjo. Banjo is hard to play, man. It's hard to play it well, to do that Scruggs-style banjo, which is what he was doing with the 5-string. But he's also a wicked guitar player, so again, respect. And he burns a really neat, tasty solo in this song. And he's using that that kind of auto-wah type thing that that the guy from Audio Slave, Rage, the Rage guitar player, I loved Audio Slave. I thought they were fantastic. And in that song, womp, 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 like a stone. That's another one I should do. I'll do a big sexy hooks on that. That's in a minor key, and it rocks, right? They're using the minor key cheat code. Anyway, I love that auto wah. Keith does a big solo with the auto wah, and hits some really nice notes. And, you know, much like the David Gilmour school of soloing, it's not all about how many notes you're playing. It's just nice notes, texture, you know, really striking the guitar. And yeah, it's fantastic. So anyway, that's where I'm at with that song. And the reason why I'm going to compare it to another one called One Headlight by Jacob Tutu and the Hooded Fang, Jacob Dylan and his band The Wallflowers. What happened to those guys? Is because when I heard going from the... Okay, those 4 chords, I was like, dun, 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 dun. Going from the 4 to the root. What other song does that? And I was plucking it with that little bouncy beat, which is the Barracuda. I love it, yeah. Yeah, it's that one. So I was like, what is that? Change the key. It's One Headlight by the Wallflowers. And that one is in the key of D, but it starts on the 4, which is the G, goes to the D, and then instead of the relative minor, sorry, it's not a minor there, it's a major. So instead of going what would be a B minor chord to an A, if it was to copy the key, what Keith Urban's song does, his is a G to a D to a F sharp major to a B minor, and then it drops down to hang out on an A note and cycles through it. And what's neat about that song is, that pattern, obviously, and he starts on the 4 note as well, because it's actually all in the key of D, but the entire song builds tension and hardly ever resolves on the D. It takes ages. So they're both doing that same trick of not starting on the root note and actually starting on the 4 note. And because they're in different keys, Jacob Dylan's is in D, yeah, and so we're starting on that G, and I'll take you back now to the mid-90s when I first heard it. So first off, I was like, wow, this is a really good-looking son of Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan's my favorite guy on the planet, so for songwriting, so he must be good if you grew up in the same house as Bob, and he is great. It just seems like the career kind of peaked right at that time, and I was waiting to see more. I'm not sure. And like I said, I don't have time to Google him or wiki him. I got to get this out there. So, what happened to him? I don't know. You can Google him on your own time. But he had this song, and it was the big hit off their album, the good one. And it came out in the mid-90s. And I just Googled the lyrics. And interestingly enough, it's all about a funeral. And can you make a pop song that's, a big hit that's about a funeral? And yeah, I guess you can, because he did it. So long ago, I don't remember when. That's when they say I lost my only friend. They said she died easy of a broken heart disease as I listened to the cemetery trees. I see the sun coming up at the funeral at dawn. Now, this is funny because when I first learned this song, I used to play this live in the 90s. And I probably could have Googled the lyrics, but instead I used to just listen to it and write it down by hand. And I thought that this line was, I see the sun coming up at the funeral at dawn, and what I always sang was, with a Vaughn looking on with human law. It makes no sense, but that's what I thought that he was saying. Okay, it's kind of like the Blinded by the Light. Revved up like a do, sha-do-ba-do-ba-do-ba-do. I had no idea. With Yvonne. That's what I thought he said. With Yvonne, which is a woman's name, looking on with human law. I couldn't tell what he was saying. And that's what I sang. And nobody ever came up to me and said, you butchered that lyric at the second line of the second verse. Well, I'm looking at it now, the first time in 20 years. According to Google, it's with the long broken arm of human law. So I wasn't far off. And what the heck does that mean? I see the sun coming up at the funeral at dawn with the long broken arm of human law. Now it always seems such a way, she always had a pretty face. I wonder, I like the way he goes to a major F sharp chord in there, because it's in the key of D, so it should in that key be an F sharp minor, but he made it a major to give it real tension. It's great. Always seems such a way, she always had a pretty face. I wonder why she hung around this place. And sometimes it's little tricks that make it special. That's what. Hey, 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 going up to the 4. Come on, try a little root. That's the resolve. That's the key it's in. Nothing is forever. Got to be something better than in the middle. Me and Cinderella. Put it all together, we can drive it home. This is building up tension on the 5, holding with one head. And you think it's going to resolve on the root, right? Give me that root, man. When I find. No, it doesn't. With one head, right. That's the 4. Right. That's when it finally resolves on that chord there. We can drive it home with one hand now. There's the resolve. So very neat song as well. I mean, that song is all about tension. It takes ages to resolve on that chord, and it never really does resolve. So that's why I thought they were both very similar kind of songs. They both do the same trick where they're not starting on the root. It's not traditional, and they're starting on the 4 chord. And yeah, I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, if you played guitar, man, you'd know what I'm talking about. Anywho, I've had a good time, and this is about where I want to keep it. I will mention that Jacob Dylan is the son of Bobby G. No, that's Robert De Niro. No, it's not Robert De Niro. It's Bob Dylan is who I'm talking about. Talking about a guy who has a stage name. That ain't his real name. It's Robert Zimmerman. But he's gone by Bob Dylan since about 1961. And he is the reason why I started writing songs. Absolutely, the first time I heard Bob Dylan. And I'll get into that and why I love Dylan. But one of the interesting things with Dylan and songwriting is that he's written so many songs over the years. He's so prolific. You wouldn't even know that he's written some of these massive hits. I mean, there's that song, To Make You Feel My Love. People love it. It's been covered a ton by lots of women. People always sing it on those voicey type shows when they go on TV. Dylan wrote it. Dylan wrote that one. He also wrote a much covered and much despised song, Rock Me Mama Like a Wagon Wheel. He's written that one. The 4 chord song. And, 4 chord songs are, this is going back to Keith Urban's one too. It's 4 chords. It's just basically a cycle of chords, just like the Keith Urban one. No bridge. The chorus and the verse and the chorus have the same chords underneath them, and then it just cycles through, and it just goes to a slightly higher melody in the chorus. And that's a great songwriting trick, and it's very good for easy beginners, and that's why so many people like Wagon Wheel, because it's a great beginner song, right? Me and mama like a hey. Dylan wrote it. I was playing it in B there. That's the key that Hootie, he'll always be Hootie to me. Darius Rucker plays it in. The other one that Dylan did that's even less chords is... people don't know this one. It's called You Ain't Going Nowhere. Young people don't because Hootie hasn't covered it yet, yeah. But the Byrds did a cover of it. This one's only got 3 chords. G, A minor, C, back to the G. 3 chords. Whenever I get on a piano or a new instrument, this is the first song I always try to figure out how to play because it's just so easy. Clouds so swift, the rain won't lift. Gateways closed, railings froze. Ooh, ride me high. Tomorrow's the day my bride's gonna... I'll tell you what, man. If I haven't got caught for copyright by this point, I can almost get away with anything with the guitar. Because that's probably about as much as I'm going to sing and play through all the songs. So we'll pop this one up there and see what old copyright does for us. Whether it gets detected or not. But, yeah, that's... My point about those 3 Dylan songs was Dylan is absolutely prolific. He's written way more than what you would think. People just go, "Oh, Bob Dylan, I don't like his voice." Well, I don't know who says it with that voice, but that's generally the big criticism. And hey, you're right, man. You're right. He's got a very unique, is putting it nicely, voice. But he's a master of songwriting. He's the master of songwriting. I learned his song "Blowin' in the Wind" when I was in public school 30-something years ago, 40 years ago. It was already a standard in public school books. And it sounded like it was written 100 years before that. He wrote it in about 62. So anyway, Dylan. We'll get more about Dylan in the future, but... you know, you can imagine that his son growing up in that house is going to be a good songwriter. And, well, one headlight certainly proves it. And even though Jakob Dylan's career hasn't been as prolific as his dad's, that's for his own reason. Because One Headlight still stands up. It's a great song. It's indicative of those 90s songs. It's got a lot of lyrics and it's long, and that's the way they all went back then. Yeah, I'm looking at it here there's a lot of lyrics in that song, but you ever listen to those Smash Mouth songs or Third Eye Blind? Even Hook by Blues Traveler, the amount of lyrics in all the songs of that era is crazy, man. They had to rap the third verse. Pass the test of it. I want something. They were all like that. They crammed a bunch of lyrics in. So you can't really... you got to take it for what it is. Of the time, that was the era. And if you wanted to get radio play, that's just was a trend. And anyway, speaking of Jakob Dylan, I do know that he did one other song that's come across my radar. And it's called There's Gonna Be a Darkness. And the way I know that is one of my favorite bands is the Jayhawks. And the singer from that band is named Gary Louris. And they came out with an album a couple of years ago, Backroads and something. Anyway, when that album came out, it again went all over my radar thanks to Facebook and Instagram and Zuckerberg and his clever algorithms. And anyway, it was everywhere. And of course I listened to it and I adore it. And that album there's a lot of... songs on there that Gary Louris from the Jayhawks has written for other people. There's a song that he did for the Dixie Chicks on there called Everybody Knows. And there's this song called There's Gonna Be a Darkness. And interestingly, it's not sung by Gary Louris in the song. It's sung by the drummer of the band. And that song, There's Gonna Be a Darkness, was actually written by Jakob Dylan, other than the bridge, from what I'd heard. And it's from the TV show, or was written by Jakob Dylan for the TV show True Blood. And it's about a funeral as well. So there's 2 songs by Jakob Dylan about funerals. This one's really neat. I recommend it if you go seek it out. It's called "There's Gonna Be a Darkness," and I think it's one of the heaviest, wickedest songs. There's gonna be roses, and your picture in a frame. The women will be crying, and the men, they will whisper your name. Umbrellas will be open on a hillside of grace. The children will be dressed up and chase each other in the rain. And there's gonna be a darkness, maybe colder than you guess. There may be music, there may be stairs, there may be angels filling the air. Your mother may be there. Your father may be there. There may be voices sent from a throne to carry you home. Fantastic lyrics. It's beautiful as a poem. It's beautiful as a song. And from what I heard, Gary Lewis was recruited by Jacob Dylan to write the bridge. Well, you think there's a place wide open and wide, where you think you'll be safe, where you think there's a light, there's gonna be a darkness, maybe colder than you guess. There may not be music, there may not be stairs, there may not be angels filling the air. Your mother may be there, your father may be there. It's a great song. Look it up. So there it is. I've had a great time talking at you. And that's the first episode in the can of Big Sexy Hooks. Big Sexy Hooks. Big Sexy Hooks. That's us.